Turning now to Lansing, a few debates brewing there. Testimony this week about auto insurance reform and the push to change term limits taking on new force. The Michigan Chamber coming out this week, Nolan, talking about, all right, we don't want to bury term limits, but we want to change them around a little bit. We want to extend it a little bit. An interesting idea. What do you think?
I think it's a good idea. They're doing it they're furious with Brian Kelly for that part-time proposal he offered.
How does that all end up matching up then?
They don't. I mean, this is a direct response to that, trying to head that off. A part-time legislature with no extension of term limits would be a disaster, or no end of term limits would be a disaster. Chamber's coming back saying, taking a remedy other states have used, if we allow lawmakers, instead of you can spend 6 here and 8 there, you can spend 12 all in one chamber.
Wherever you want.
And hopefully by the time you're in your 7th and 8th year, you've got the extra expertise and experience you need to be an effective lawmaker.
Why do we need to extend the term limits?
Well, I wouldn't extend them. I would get rid of them.
Me too.
I don't particularly care for that. Yeah, I don't particularly care for that feature of
why isn't it politically feasible when you've got 30 other states that do not have term limits?
It's still really popular here, and I think people don't make the connection between the really awful policy that we see at the state level and the things we can't get done and term limits. They think it's other things. They think it's lobbyists, or they think it's bitter partisanship, and those things are a problem too. But the term limits, I think, are the accelerant that make all of those things really, really awful to deal with. I think if you're going to extend it, I would extend it. I mean, or change it. I would extend the time too. I would say 16 years makes more sense to me.
But they're afraid. I mean, they're just afraid they can't get it past voters.
If you could get that, it's better than nothing.
We're going to have a big turnover.
But you look, 70% of the Senate.
Everybody's going, right?
But Tom Leonard, 2 years as House Speaker. He's out now at the end of next year. And by the way, I'm going to run for Attorney General. Right. It hasn't created a class of citizen politicians who serve and go
that's
home.
right. They don't leave either.
They pogo stick
they're kind of
all
looking
around.
for they kind of end up looking for the next job
and that's
while
all they focus
they're
on
in Lansing.
Well, they get the bug, right? I mean, once you get elected, it's harder and harder the longer you're there. I think I've seen this over and over again. The longer you stay, the more you come to think of it as important work and that you have a place in it. And that's okay. I think that's actually valuable, because that's how we get veteran legislators who actually know what they're doing and have seen lots of things.
And are prepared to move in other jobs. John Engler was 20 years in the legislature before he became governor. Whether you liked his policies or not, you can't argue with the fact that he knew how government worked and how to get things done.
That's right.
Another thing happening in Lansing this week, testimony about auto insurance reform. Is it going to be as easy as a path as we once thought?
Looks like it's breaking apart. I mean, trial attorneys and the hospitals and medical providers, health insurance company, it's kind of a powerful coalition against.
Well, the House Fiscal Agency came out and said $150 million on the the state's Medicaid system in 10 years. That's
well, I mean, somebody's got to pay, right? I mean, if you're going to make sure people are not out there by themselves when they get into these catastrophic accidents, if the car insurance company's not going to pay, then somebody else will.
The health insurance or the government's going to have to pay, and so it looks like we're not going to see any rate relief for Detroit drivers.
Yeah, because they still can charge rates based on zip code and
I think that's what we should be dealing with, right? Redlining is one of the things.
You know, we can deal with that, but unless we do something about these medical costs, it's not going to come down.
All right, we're going to have to leave it there. Thanks.